Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Paleo Springs State Park, where your wish is my command. Today, we are bringing to life an exhibit that I'm really excited for and was actually requested by you guys, specifically by Lucky. Shout out to Lucky896, I believe. Yeah, thank you for the comment. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everybody else who comments on my videos. I do read every single one, and I try to respond to every single one of them as well. But today, again, we are bringing the Elasmotherium sibericum into the park, otherwise known as the Siberian Unicorn. So there is hot debate around the Elasmotherium, specifically around its horn and whether or not it had a big giant horn or it had a stubby little knob. Let me know in the comments what you think the Elasmotherium had. Do you think it had a big horn, or do you think that it had more of a short and stubby knob? I will say for this park, for the thumbnail mostly, we are going with the much larger horn because a much larger horn is much more impressive. And it's eye-catching, again, in a thumbnail. So, yeah, we're using the big one. Personally, I think that it's probably more plausible that Elasmotherium had a hump rather than a much larger horn. And I'll link down to a research paper that I read before making this video, before making the voiceover for this, where they talk about sort of the reconstruction of the skull and the muscle features and everything. You all are probably familiar with this already. If you follow the dev diaries, they dug into sort of the reasons why they added both back when they did add Elasmotherium. But yeah, it's an interesting topic and it's an interesting debate. So what I'm doing here, again, to get away from the square habitats here, we are building a slightly angled, so not entirely square, viewing area here. And this is based off of again, another zoo that I have forgotten the name of already that I found online, but I will put the inspiration photos on screen now so you all can see that. And one of the things that I was really inspired by that I encourage all of you guys out there to do is when you're looking for habitats for these species in Prehistoric Kingdom specifically, again, these animals don't exist anymore. They're not alive currently. They are extinct. They are not extant. So these animals here, they may often not have living relatives that you can base a habitat off of or a AZA regulation off of. So one thing that I recommend is look for a similar climate, look for similar size requirements, that too. So like for the mammoth, people said that it was a small exhibit, and I do agree, but one of the things that I based it off of was the Indian elephant, which typically does have really small exhibits in real life. And so for this exhibit, actually, because there's literally nothing in the world that looks like an Elasmotherium. It is just such an iconic look. But one of the things that I based it off of, I believe, was a yak exhibit. So yaks are still alive today, megafauna. They're found pretty much in the same area that Elasmotherium was found back during the Ice Age. Or one of the ice ages. I know that's not really the correct term to use, but whatever, we're going with it. Yeah, and so I actually based this off of a yak exhibit, and that habitat that I found online on Pinterest, I believe, had this beautiful waterfall that was coming off of the guest viewing area. And I realized in the live play, you'll hear me say, it's unfortunate the guest can't actually see the waterfall. It's this beautiful water feature, but they can't actually see it. So we might do some tweaking around eventually, and see if we can get it to where the guests can actually view that water feature there. But again, we are basing this park in Northern California, so we are kind of being strict on water. We're kind of trying to follow the environmental regulations, so not doing too much deforestation in what was a former state park, and still technically, I think in this series is a state park, but more so owned by a outside benefactor, if you will. Yeah, so what I'm doing here is I'm adding this backstage area. I think now that I'm looking at this, I never added the air gate, the gate that can close inside there. So I'll have to go back through and do that. I didn't do it when I recorded the live play. Most of the time, just a little behind the scenes for you all. Most of the time, I record the live play whenever I can, almost immediately after I do the build, just so it's fresh in my mind and I can kind of view things without recording. But it is helpful sometimes, again, to kind of watch it back like I'm doing right now to do this voiceover. I'm watching the video before I send it out to you all to see if it's okay, and you can hear me talk about if I see something bad in the video or whatever. I watch it back so that I can do the voiceover. It's a very easy format, but yeah, I will have to go back through and add that closing gate into there. That's crazy that I forgot that. But regardless, anyway, one of the things I love Elasmotherium in this game. You'll see we go for the first skin, which again is that one with the big horn. But I will say I'm not a fan of the hitboxes. The Elasmotherium pretty much has the same problem now that Panthera used to have, and I think maybe still does. I'm kind of unsure on that. It's been a while since we built the Panthera habitat here, but yeah, Elasmotherium has a really small hitbox, and it's honestly kind of frustrating to build for. So that little stone gate area in the back that leads back out of this main viewing exhibit back into the backstage, that's just barely big enough for Elasmotherium. As well as the habitat itself, it's almost 3,000 square meters at the end of the day, this habitat is. And, that is still just almost barely big enough for the Elasmotherium, despite in the Paleopedia, it says that it needs, around 2,000, I believe it is. But it is what it is. So anyway, here you can see me building this water feature here. I really love these special effect features that we have in Prehistoric Kingdom. They are just absolutely phenomenal. And coupled with the scaling tools, I mean, it's just this game, honestly, it's still in early access, yes, but it already blows pretty much every other game out of the water. And devs, if you're listening to this, there are a lot of bugs. There are a lot of suggestions that I have. I am now a Patreon subscriber, so I will try to get with one of you on that. I am the tier that has access to making those suggestions and reporting the bugs and stuff like that. I won't say how much on YouTube. You all can find out for yourself. If you're not subscribed, go subscribe to their Patreon. Now, if you didn't see the January Dev Diary update that I had, kind of goes into there on that. But yeah, so what was I saying? I'm just kind of rambling now. But anyway, we're wrapping up the backstage area here. I did pretty much like we've done before with the slats there. I could honestly make them a little wider, but with the ontogeny, the babies coming, I didn't want to make them too wide where a baby Elasmotherium could fit through. I can't even fathom what a baby Elasmotherium looks like, and the thought of that just makes me so happy. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the baby animals. I am so ready for that. Yeah, and that's coming in the very next update. So you can almost guarantee that every single YouTuber or person who makes content is going to be posting 10 billion thumbnails with baby dinosaurs and baby cave lions and, every other baby under the sun. There's going to be videos out there. I'm not going to make it, but there's going to be videos out there where people are like, this is every baby animal that is in Prehistoric Kingdom. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I say that. I might. We might. No, I won't. I won't. I can't. Yeah, it's fine. So here we are. We're putting 4 aircon units on the top of this backstage area. Again, these are Ice Age animals, so they need it pretty cold. But again, because we're basing this in Northern California, where Paleo Springs State Park is, in our sort of lore that we've established, I would almost expect Elasmotherium to be housed outside, just because the climate itself in Northern California, for those of you that have never been there, it's pretty similar to what what it looks like here. It's a coastal sort of temperate biome. There are wetlands, there are upland forests with the redwoods there. There's all sorts of different environments, and it's difficult, even for someone here in Florida to say that every single environment is exactly the same, because it's not doing justice to the other environments that exist in that same area or close to it. So I would almost expect for Elasmotherium to be housed outside. A lot of zoos do this, and you'll often see places like San Francisco and LA, which shout out again to anybody who's in LA right now. My heart goes out to you for the fires. That is incredibly painful. But places like San Francisco, LA, Sacramento, the zoos up there, or over there, I guess, in California, they house a lot of the animals outside. Obviously, they have backstage areas, but you wouldn't put Elasmotherium in a giant geodesic dome. We may do that for some animals down the road, but again, for Elasmotherium right now, it's fine. So we are coming up pretty close to the live play, so I'm going to say just a couple more things, and then I will leave you all to it. I'm painting in the trails right here. What are they called? The ruts, the paths, where the Elasmotherium would walk pretty much around its habitat, where it's frequented and has kind of worn down the grass in that area. But I love that it's a boreal animal, and we have this dry grass. This dry grass here just adds such a beautiful texture to it, and I may actually go through and paint the dry grass underneath this as the brush, the textured brush. But yeah, so that's where I'm going to leave it off for you guys, and I will see you in the live play in literally just 2 seconds. All right, so we are back here in the live play now, and let's take a look at this exhibit. Of course, it's going to autosave right as I jump back in, but that's okay. Yeah, so let's take a look at this exhibit. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It looks pretty close to the reference photos that I was sort of basing off of. Obviously, making do with the stuff that we have in game. Yeah, I really like it. I like these rocks, apparently. I like how, we have the new info signs that I haven't talked about yet, but I will post a link down below to the 3 different signs that I've made. And I'll actually pause really quick and I'll show those off now, if I can ever get out of these rocks. Yeah, so we have this one here. It's got this background on there. Obviously, these are completely interchangeable and you can make them your own if you want, completely customizable. And then we have these that are based off of the in-game text panels, just added a little bit more to it, added some lights, made it look a little bit more professional. And then this is the wall-mounted version without the back on there, so you can slap it on a wall or wherever you want. Yeah, I will post a link down below to those as well. I didn't mention that beforehand. But yeah, so moving into this exhibit, I really like this water feature here. Obviously, the guest can't see it, and that is kind of unfortunate. However, I may add another viewing area somewhere over here. This still marks our 2 quote-unquote viewing areas that we like to normally do here. I really like how this one turned out. I like the grass here. This dry boreal grass really allows this exhibit to kind of shine it in its own way. It looks very different from anything that we've had so far. And this is pretty similar to the habitat that Elasmotherium would have lived in. They would have lived in these dry grasslands, again, in Siberia. So thank you to Lucky for suggesting this video again. Thank you for suggesting this animal. If you have an animal that you really want in this park, suggest it, and we may add it in the near future here. So that's actually where I'm going to leave it off for you guys. Again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know any animals that you would like to see in here at some point. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah. Again, this is where I'm going to leave it off. And I want to thank you again for taking your time to spend a little bit of your day with me here. There's a million things you could have been doing, and you chose to spend a little bit of that time here with me and watching me build a wonderful little Elasmotherium habitat. So again, thank you so much. I will see you all in the next one. Take care for now. Bye-bye.